name is Dr. Ray, and I'm here to tell you about our podcast, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas. We are here to have the tough and difficult conversation about being labeled special ed or have some form of a disability. My name again is Dr. Raylyn White.
And I am Keita A. Pratt. Be sure to tune in to us every first and third Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
We can be found on Clubhouse as of now, but please stay tuned to our social media pages, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas.
Heritage Academy in San Antonio is now open for student registration. Our mission at Heritage Academy is to not only prepare students to succeed at college, but to instill values and knowledge, to educate the whole person, and to balance intellectual development with purposeful moral guidance. Smaller classes, personal attention, focusing on teaching life values. We're eager to welcome new students this fall. Register your student today at heritageacademy.net. Heritage Academy in San
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining on today. Thank you for joining. We are here on our 4th episode, and we want to thank you all for being here. As you know, this particular season is our 2nd season, and we are focusing on the other stigmas of dyslexia. And I am one of your co-hosts. I am Keita A. Pratt. I am a dyslexic, and I am here to motivate, encourage you, inspire you to get to your greater good, to advocate for you, to stand in the gap for you, to give you the tools to be successful into moving in your dyslexia journey and other stigma journeys. So on today, we have an amazing guest that my co-host will introduce as we move into this episode on today. So I am Keita A. Pratt, and my co-host, I will let her introduce herself. And yeah, Dr. Ray.
Hey, hello everyone. I am Dr. Ray, and as we all know, we are here to help you navigate being dyslexic or having some form of a stigma. Guess what? We have an amazing guest for us today. He is none other than Dr. Anthony L. Webb. He is an optometrist. He is in the reserves. He's just an all-around do-it-all person. I have known him for over too many years now. And so I am so excited that he is going to grace our stage to help us navigate how he went through being in the military, opening up his own practice, being an African-American male in today's society, and being successful. When I say he is successful, oh my. He has hit every plateau there is possible that he can do. I am just so godly proud to call him my friend. So let's welcome to the stage, Dr. Anthony L. Webb. Hello, sir.
Well, hello, Dr. Ray. And
hello.
Hello.
Wow, that's quite an introduction. I hope I live up to it. Well, as you said, I made it out to San Antonio by being part of the military. I was actually active duty Army. I had the privilege to go to school to become an optometrist, and that was definitely the best move ever, helping people with vision, helping people to overcome situations that dyslexia, for example, making sure that the vision is good in order for them to be able to get the help that they need. And that was probably one of the most fulfilling things for me, is just being able to help people. And that's been a privilege over the years, and I continue to want to do that over time. Dyslexia, that is a very, very powerful learning disability. And it's one that, as you know, can change the course of your entire life. Mm-hmm. And there's so many kids that come into our practice. We start seeing kids at 1, And we did that intentionally so that we could do exams. But we see those kids and they come in, and those that do have good vision may have issues with reversing letters, reversing words, numbers, etc. And that becomes a problem. And how the brain merges all this information together. But they get labeled. And labels are hard to come back from. And that's one challenge that we have to deal with. We have to step back and go, let's deal with the person first, and let's do what's right for that person, and not stick a label on to him or her and help them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things that we try to help when we detect it in our clinic. We make sure that we send correspondence to the school nurse and try to give guidance at that point, to try to give them some help. And hopefully that will help to get them through that situation. I know as a kid, not having glasses was an issue for me. And when you don't have glasses and you can't see what's on the board, or you are not able to pay attention and focus in on what's going on around you, you tend to get in trouble. And that becomes a huge issue. So you're disruptive. People label you with ADHD. People think that there's something going on or something wrong with you that may have nothing to do with your actual learning disability because you've not been tested. And so that's something that's key, is making sure that we, all of us, do what we can to make sure we find those kids that have these issues, and we're able to get them to be productive, just like you have, Ms. Pratt.
Oh, wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. So I am hearing that you play a major role with helping dyslexics like myself with correcting our vision, being a part of the initial foundation to identify, if we have, a dyslexic trait in us regarding our vision. That is amazing. I never would have imagined that, going to my eye doctor's appointment could be an assistance to me. That is amazing.
Absolutely. One of the things that we do, and it's set up in our practice because we do start exams at such a young age, is that we make every effort to weed out the other issues, vision being a big part of the issue, and then also verbal issues. But we can manage the vision portion and dealing with that, and then going, okay, little Johnny or Jane can see, or at least we're able to help them to see better. So check mark, that's taken care of. Now, let's do a follow-up in 3 months, 6 months. Let's find out how things are going. See if we've made some improvement, we've made some headway, if things are going the way they should go. And if we hear that, then great. Problem solved, perfect. If not, then they need to be referred out to resources that can help them with this. Because the earlier we catch it, as you know, the more likely we are to help the individual to have a normal, productive educational experience. And one of my favorite boxers of all time is the dyslexic, God rest his soul, but seeing him as a boxer, Muhammad Ali, seeing him as a boxer and hearing him, because he realized along the way that no, he wasn't so good with writing, but he had the gift of gab. And that goes along with dyslexia, because the way the brain functions and it works is so much information is pushed towards the auditory center as opposed to the visual, written. portion of it. And so being able to balance that out helps that individual to be able to do what's necessary in school. And that's always it. We have so much from those formative years to learn, and we've got to make sure that the students are able to gain all the knowledge that they can without having labels.
Right. And that's the first thing we have to do before we even recommend a student for dyslexia testing or even special ed testing is to have that vision test done. And if the kid fails the vision test here that our nurse will do, then they have to go to an optometrist to have it done before they would even accept the recommendation for testing. So,
And that makes perfectly good sense, because we found in a lot of cases, as you know, that once that portion is corrected, it makes a huge impact on the learning process. And if you can't see it, you can't learn it.
Right.
And then you end up like me in the back of the classroom being a knucklehead. And we don't want that. We want these kids to be able to learn and be productive members of society.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, when you brought up about the different forms of dyslexia, because now they are saying that being dyslexic is like autism, is on a spectrum. And they're not just limiting it to being mixing words, letters, or seeing numbers backwards. So they do have dysgraphia, which is for writing, dyscalculia, just for numbers. So now some people can have it just for numbers, just for writing, and just for books and magazines. And people that probably don't even know what magazines are anymore because everything is electronic. But anyway, anything of print. And so it has been just amazing for me doing this journey, being the mother of a dyslexic, which is Evan, just going through that with him and walking through the process of not only accepting that my child has a disability, but trying to see what I can do in order to help him. One thing that you did mention was about the labels. And one thing that Keita and our mission is to get parents to look past the label. Being labeled special ed or dyslexic or having a learning disability, it's the same as being GT, because all of it still falls under special education. But what it's supposed to do is to help level the playing field when they are in special education. Just level the playing field, give them the coping mechanisms, the tools that they need in order for them to be successful. And sometimes some people may say it's not right if I'm up to bat and it's 3 strikes and you out, but let's say this one kid get 4 strikes and they out because they have that disability. But I bet you they probably can hit the ball before they get to the 4th one if they do what they can to improve. And that's what we're trying to get the community to see. And so I am just so glad to hear that you start seeing kids so young in order to help catch it at such an early age, because that's another thing that parents didn't know. If you live near a public school and your tax dollars go to that school, no matter what age your child is, you go to that elementary school and you can request for your child to be tested. So that child could be one. And if you would say, hey, I think that there's an issue with their sight, they may have some form of dyslexia, they can go to their elementary school and give them what, based upon your recommendation, and they're supposed to test that child. So you don't have to wait until they're in kindergarten or when they're in school. You can start as soon as, really, when I was in one of my previous districts, we were servicing a kid that was a newborn. So that's how young They're trying to get these preventions, the aid that they need out to the community to help the kids so they won't be far behind when they get older. Like now at my school, I have a 5-year-old who is nonverbal, and he's having a hard time learning because one, he's nonverbal, he don't know how to write his name. And there are kids at the age of 5, they are expected to at least be able to write their name, know how to use scissors, this and this. So there are so many programs that are out there that are catering to help parents with students that need these help, these assistance, so when they do start school, they won't be so far behind. So that is so awesome that we will, knowing that you and I hope other optometrists are doing the same thing to help curtail the issue that we're having now. Now, let me tell you, I'm gonna get to the good stuff now. So thank you for all the dyslexia stuff. But there are some stigmas. I know. See, y'all know I always get to it. There's some stigmas, Dr. Webb, I know you went through when you being in the military and going through optometry school. And the main one is the social issue that's out there now, and that's just being an African American male. How did you maneuver through that and persevere?
It's a great question, Dr. Ray. It's actually, I had a conversation with a friend over the weekend. We were talking about military academies, and I had an experience where I went to a military academy, but I was told not to go to a certain military academy. And it was because of race. Subsequently, my cousin, 8 years later, went to that military academy, and he had no problems with it. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. And the university that I went to was in Georgia, and that was really tough. For us, we carried a flag for a state that part of that flag was part of the Confederacy. And that was really tough for us all to deal with, knowing what that represented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we dealt with it and we moved on. And I would definitely have to say one of my classmates, who is now a major general in the Army, he took it to heart, and he is now in a position to make changes. And I think that's one of the things that we've done on that side is push to advance so that we can help others and turn around and make it easier to navigate. Optometry school was similar, but fortunately, it was at a time where they were trying to diversify optometry, the entire program. And I had a wonderful professor, Dr. Hallison Watkins at Texas Southern, who set up an appointment for me with the assistant dean at the optometry school, Dr. Enrique Medrano. And our conversation was that it was about race, and it was about opening the doors, and it was about what optometry looked like and what it should look like. And it should be representative of our society. And it was not. But in that, so 20 years ago, because we've known each other a long time, Dr. Ray.
I know.
things have changed a great deal there, and it has become more diversified, and that's it. Step by step it is
Mhm.
changing,
Mhm.
but it takes stepping through that door to make that change.
Right. And I also have to, I know personally that Dr. Webb he believes in helping others step through that door. Being a single mom at that time when we met, and having two boys, this I take Dr. Webb really had helped me out tremendously with my boys, and he stepped in when they talk about that village that you need in order to help, and especially with me being a female with two boys, and I knew that I could not raise boys by myself. You know, I can help guide them, but when they need that one on one and that male, and Dr. Webb did that for my boys. He would take them for guide time. And I remember he would try to tell me what they talked about. And I went, no, no, you don't need to do that. So going back and people's like, well, what does this have to do with the stigmas and dyslexia? With Evan, that meant a lot to him because here he had a role model of someone that's a professional and who is taking time out with him despite everything that he had. And I to this day, the boys give him a lot of credit because he really and truly invested a lot into the boys. So I would say that he truly walked through the door, but that he also would bring others, and especially other young Black males, to help them walk through the doors. He hired Ethan to work at his practice, what, sixth grade? When he
Yes.
was in sixth grade. Ethan was supposed to be an optometrist, but we're going to leave that alone. but but he did get the MBA, he did, and we do know the reason why he got that MBA was because of what you instilled in him. A reason why he always wears shirt and tie, no matter where he go, he have on the shirt and tie out of both of them. But the thing is, you help to remove part of that stigma just because you are an African American male, and especially for my boys coming from a single parent home, you still can be successful. Again, I don't take that lightly, and people would always what people know because I always toot his horn about what he has done for my boys and still do for them. Because if they do call him, he still talks to them and stuff. But just having that role model for young men was amazing and purposeful, especially for I can speak for my two. And so I don't know what he did for other folk, but I can tell you what he did for my two. Okay. And he just, and he does it quietly. That's what I like about it. He doesn't have to tell everybody what he do. And so when we talk about stigmas, Dr. Webb, and I know he's like, man, she just making me just go all in today. I know. That's why I didn't tell you what I was going to talk about beforehand because I didn't want you to say no.
You got me.
So pretty much,
And
as we're
you're
hearing,
too kind. You're too kind.
Go ahead, go ahead.
You have amazing men and you're an amazing mom. You're too kind.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead.
so as I'm hearing, Dr. Webb, you have an extensive background. So you have the military background. You went to school. You work hand in hand with different stigmas, as we're speaking of today. So as we move along in the conversation, like even you dealing with, a little bit of, colorism, racism, to just get to where you're at. So through this journey that you had to come through, what type of, do you have any organization or any programs or anything that you do in your community to further people's education regarding some of the things that you know have come through to be a help?
Well, we're actually about to start another program. We like to do bring externs in, but there's another program that we're about to start to try to work with helping others to move into the healthcare field. More to come on that, though, for sure. But I think a lot is opportunity and understanding that there's a great deal of opportunity out there. We just need to know how to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that education is really important. Some people have this path blazed before them. Others have to have the path blazed for them. And so we've got to clear that out, give them the knowledge that they need, and help them to get where they are. I sometimes say to patients, to friends, to family, if the things I know now, if I knew them when I was 20, I'd be dangerous. And it's that knowledge that we have to freely share with each other. I think that's just so important. And I'm just very thankful to have grown up in my wonderful single parent household with my mom, who's just an amazing woman who wore two hats and just made sure that I stayed grounded, but that I learned. And I remembered that it's important to always give, because I've been given so much. And I appreciate those blessings that I've been given. But it's so important to turn around and give those blessings to others.
Wow. I know Dr. Ray has something. I'm going to go ahead and let her speak, but that is amazing that your foundation, the foundation that you know, grew up on to be where you're at, like the strength, the endurance, all that you come through to be the person that you are today. I love how you said some people path is blazed for them and other people, you know, have to, you know, kind of have some kind of assistance to blaze their path. So that being said, and I'll let Dr. Ray, you know, ask her question. So I hear that your motivation and your foundation stems from, you know, your mother, based on everything she installed in you. Would you say that that gives you the motivation to keep going forward, to give people the inspiration and the information that maybe you wasn't privy to as you were growing up? Is she your reason?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's one thing that's always been so important. I mean, it's we're a family, but we're a family of 7 billion people, you know, and that's something that sometimes gets lost. You know, we're all here together, and we can help each other through this life. And that's a really important thing. If I know something, why should I keep it to me? Why shouldn't I tell you or tell someone else if I can make it easier for them? And I think that's a very important nugget that she has given me, you know, along the way. Many others, but she is always there to give advice. And one thing I realized, and that goes to any real parent, no matter what you feel or believe, they will never tell you anything wrong. And that is powerful when you really think about it. You may not like it, but
I know. But yeah.
the right thing.
Yes. And that's the thing I know when I talk to my mom, and she did the best that she knew how with what she had. Her and my dad, they both were high school graduates and just trying to maneuver the system themselves, and to support the three girls that God blessed them with. But the middle one was the best, but we're gonna leave that alone. Okay. But they did the best. I'm not saying everything that they did was correct. What I thought was correct, what society thought was correct.
Right.
And that's even me being a parent. I didn't do everything correct, but I did the best with what I had. Absolutely. And with what I knew. And so I apologize to Crystal, Evan's wife, and to Myra, Ethan's girlfriend, because my children are ruined. They are. Their mom just spoiled them rotten. And I did. But one thing that my goal for my boys were to produce God-fearing, productive citizens. Now, I did that.
Mission accomplished.
Yes, I did do that. They may not do anything else right, but I do that I did do that. And when it really came evident for me was, I think, our second episode. Evan was our guest. And Keita could tell you, we didn't even have to talk. That he just went off and just gave us so many nuggets on life itself. And when he said, for me, the most powerful thing that my son said was, he always believed in God, but it didn't make a difference until he followed God.
Right.
I mean, and so and all I could do, I told him I felt like Mary when they in the Bible, when they say all she could do when Jesus was doing everything, she just plundered it in her heart. And that's all I could do. I was just like, I did it. And I'm not saying it was easy. It wasn't. It really and truly was not easy. And especially when we transitioned that relationship, when he was getting married, that was like one of the hardest things to do, was to let my child go. But because he was raised on biblical principles, I had to leave and cleave. And but that was the hardest thing for me to do. But it was something that I had to do because that was my time. And when I told him, he really didn't understand what I was saying, because I say, son, when he told me that this was the one, that he feels she's the one he wanted to marry. And I said, well, you do know that means it's time for me to come off that track of life for you and go in the infield. And I will always be there in the infield, and I still could run around the track with you. But I'm not on the track anymore. It's time for me to go in the infield. And it wasn't until he was going through something, and he said, well, mama, and I said, I can't tell you what to do, son. You go talk to your wife. And he was like, but mama, I still need you. Go. And it took everything I had to do that, but I had to let him go, because that's him and his wife. And I had to do that. But it was so amazing to hear my son talk on doing that episode. He did an amazing job. And I do know I didn't do it by myself. It was that village. And the village is what Keita and I are also trying to build with our podcast. We're going to be doing workshops for families to help them go through getting their child tested and not to be ashamed of the label if their child have a disability. Just because they have the disability, that doesn't mean the child cannot be successful. I not tell anyone, look at my son Evan. He's graduating in December from Baylor with a master's degree, and he has dyslexia. So the disability does not stop nor limit what and who you can be. A stigma cannot stop or limit who you can and will be. The only person that's doing that is you. And if we can get people past it, and that's why we named this Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas, because that's what we want others to do. All right, so I'm gonna let Keita go in and explain her part in this as well. Go ahead on, co-host.
Oh wow. She tossed it over to me. Well, as you stated, Dr. Ray, that is our goal here, to inform, others about dyslexia and other stigmas, and to encourage people to allow them to be normalized in their process. That's why we're here. We're here to normalize them. We're here to allow them to be set free in their situation, and knowing that what they may feel that is a hindrance is not a hindrance, because you have myself and Dr. Ray here to be able to give them, just foundational tools that they can use to move forward in their future. So that's why we do this. So Dr. Webb, like when it comes to inspiring and encouraging some of your patients, like what do you find yourself saying more of to inspire your patients that may come into your office that feel like hope is gone when they have a diagnosis that's on the table, maybe glaucoma, maybe dyslexia, or like what inspiring words do you give to your patients to allow them to be able to have some type of hope in what they're going through?
Yeah, absolutely. Someone with dyslexia, it can be trained up. It can be worked up. You got to focus, got to be disciplined, got to put in the work, and you can make it happen. And I cite different examples just depending on who it is of people that they may know, because this does impact a lot of people. And so there are a lot of famous people that they go, really, this person has it? I'm like, yes, and look what they're doing, and it doesn't hold them back at all. And you can do the same thing, and someone with an eye disease, it's about managing, it's about dealing with it. It's about also putting in the work. It's all about work. Handle the business, take care of it, do what needs to be done. It can be taken care of. But education is paramount. It's the number one thing all the way around. The more we know, the less fear we have. And then we do what's necessary in order to overcome whatever is in our way.
Yes, I love when you said you have to do the work. And that is one of the most difficult things that we can get people to do. Sometimes when they get the label, they just want to give up. They want to. It's hopeless in their minds. And I had a parent. I was trying to get her son tested. I already knew the young man had a form of a disability without him even being tested. But the parents did not want that because they were ashamed of the label. And I just feel so bad that the kid is in the second grade. And because the family, the parents are ashamed of the label, this kid is not going to get the services that he needs in order to help him to become successful. So what I ask the parents to do is to at least let him get tested so you would know what the problem is but then deny services. So at least you will know what the problem is. And so the first thing, like you said, is to do the work, but then also be able to accept what it is. You can't blame anyone because when we first found out that Evan had a form of dyslexia, and my biology degree kicked in, and I was like, well, that's hereditary. It's on the X chromosome, which means that he got it from me. So so you go through that, and it's like, wait a minute, am I dyslexic? It's just is, and you go through all these feelings, but the thing is, and was for me, is that I wanted to help my child. So I couldn't go and say, oh, that's his dad, he get it from his dad's side, or he got it. Who cares where he got it from? Let's work with what he has and get him where he needs to be. And that's the thing we are trying to get parents to see, especially in today's time with COVID. We're seeing more kids having more disabilities than ever before. And there are even some new ones and coming up. And what I mean by new ones, like some new behaviors that the kids are beginning to display because of being in COVID. And so not only are we trying to navigate all of the old stuff, we're having to learn and figure out how to navigate the new stuff that's coming up. In today's society with all of the school shootings and stuff, school is not fun like it used to be. Now, when you walk down the halls, all of the doors are locked, and you just feel like you're in a compound. And now we have the safety audits that come, and if they come and the doors are unlocked, you get cited, and this, that, and this. So it's a lot being a kid nowadays. And we as the adults need to try to help them as much as possible to navigate. So my question to you, Dr. Webb, do you know of any programs that are out there that help kids, like if they they can't afford glasses, or the eye exams or anything? Because I'm writing that down in case I have some students.
Sure. The Lions Club is one. Through SAISD, there is a program. So if they fail the school screen,
School screening.
there, and sometimes the low vision center will also do that as well. They'll do exams, but I know the Lions Club is really good about it.
Yes. Well, I also know I'm gonna go. I mean, he's hooked a sister up a couple of times with some students. So I'm just, but anyway, he has just helped the community. I know, like I say personally, as many schools I've been to, every time I call and say, hey, I know he has always willing to make some form of a donation or give whatever I ask him to give, because he's just that nice. But besides all of that, Dr. Webb, what is your main goal or purpose with everything that you do? Now, I know I didn't tell everything you've done, and I'm not going to do that. But what is your goal or your purpose for waking up and doing what you do?
Making people's lives better and giving them the opportunity to get educated. One of the things that I've been watching some series, some disturbing series on PBS, some about African Americans, some about Jewish folks and some of the things that have happened, and as well as Native Americans, and how the treatment, and when it came to education and access to it, and how it was stopped. I saw a piece on Frederick Douglass, and it was just fascinating to see his evolution from being a slave to being one of the most photographed individuals, most intellectual individuals in this country. But it was through education.
Yes.
And so that access is there. One of the things that we also do is we do vision screenings for the service academies and ROTC scholarships. So kids who may not know they have the opportunity to get an education at the Air Force Academy, Naval Academy, West Point, Coast Guard Academy, can get these $500,000 educations for nothing, but they don't know that opportunity exists in a lot of cases. And so that's one thing I talk to them about. Through the years with my education, it's all been paid for by the military. And that I've been very thankful and blessed for. Because for a while there, I was an education junkie. Just kept going back to a point where my mother said, "What are you going to school for?" It's like, well, I think I need this. Are you sure you need it? This was after I got my doctorate degree. But then afterwards, it has worked for me in the military. So education and helping others to see what's out there, what they're capable of doing, and giving them access to those channels.
Awesome. Well, I know I have to bring up your two girls.
Yes.
So when we met, I was a single mom with two boys, and he was a single dad with two girls.
Yes.
And those young ladies have turned out to be not only just beautiful young ladies, but we always have the one we talk about. We have one that's like yay, and one we just go they move to their own beat. That's my Ethan. That's my Ethan.
And then they way, right?
and so
I use the hair.
So now that you told us your journey, your motivation, but being that single dad of girls and trying to maneuver them through the life and just having them to grow into these beautiful young ladies that they have grown into. What would you tell, and I liked when you said earlier when you were 20, as that dad trying to raise girls, what would you go back and tell that dad when you're trying to, help these girls maneuver through the system?
Absolutely. You made me think of something. It kind of along the lines of some of the racial part of the conversation. My oldest daughter I'm going to say it anyway. This is because I, you know what, because she is my kids are remarkable, and I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of what they've done for themselves in life. And education wise, I see how they grow. Professionally, I see how they grow. I had a teacher when my oldest daughter was in the third grade, and my oldest daughter made A's and B's. And I believe the STAR test was in effect at that time. And she passed the STAR test. And so this teacher actually wanted to retain her. And so I had to have a conversation with the principal and my ex and my daughter, who is a very avid reader. And I asked the teacher, I said, "Where are you from?" And she said she's from Georgia. I said, I see, I know why we're here now. We're here for the wrong reason, but I know why we're here. And the sad part is I had to have a conversation with my 8-year-old about racism and about what this teacher was trying to do. And even the principal sat there and said, "I don't know why we're here." And sitting there looking at her work, looking at her test results, looking at her, looking at everything and going, "I don't know why we're here." And this teacher is saying, "I want to retain this child." And so fast forward, my daughter has a bachelor's degree in journalism, a bachelor's degree in psychology, and a master's degree in psychology now. But this is the child you wanted to retain before because of really the color of her skin. And that's what it boiled down to. And so that's one of the things that I kind of had to look at with them, because I thought maybe I won't have to have too deep of a conversation. But unfortunately, it did have to happen. But what I would spin back around and tell myself at that point is just keep loving them. Just keep loving them as much as you can and keep giving them all that you can. And just do the best that you can for them, you know, and allow them to grow into who they want to be. And that's it, that love, and, you know, and make sure that they know that there is a much higher power. God is there for them to help guide them through this life. And that's important. That's very important, because pieces are put in front of us when God wants them to be put there. And to recognize that we need to be mindful of it.
Yes. Mindful. I love that word. And I do know that God is very important in all of our lives on this stage right here. And we do know that without him, we wouldn't be where we are today. And he has that plan, and it's very important that we will follow his plan, not our plans. Because sometimes I'll be like, "Really, you really want me to do that? You really want me to do that?" But this year, as I've been saying throughout on all of our episodes, my 2 words for this year's intentional and purposeful. And so it is my intention to make sure that I'm living and doing the purpose that God has for me. And it is one of the most difficult things to do, because sometimes self get in the way, and we have to die to that daily in order to make sure that we're doing what he wants us to do. So Dr. Webb, thank you so much. It's just been an amazing conversation. So I'm gonna toss it back.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Dr. Webb, thank you so much for gracing us, today with your presence. It has been an amazing conversation on today. We thank you for just bringing awareness throughout the different challenges and the overcoming and the things that you bring into the community. We definitely appreciate it. So if I can ask you one last thing, is there something you would like to say and to just inspire others that maybe want to be, a optometrist as yourself, and they are not confident in going to school to obtain the information to become one? What encouragement would you give, one who wants to be what you are today and that is struggling to really make the decision because they feel that they can't overcome because of, whatever stigmas they may have? You have to unmute. Unmute.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. I don't.
I'm not
Can
sure. I'm not sure what has happened.
I don't know. Can let me text them.
The mic isn't connected. That is what it's saying.
Oh wow. So when it
Mm-hmm.
okay. Can you stop recording and then so you won't have to edit?
Well, we can go ahead and close it out at this point if his microphone doesn't connect as you are doing that. I will bring him down and okay. So
Okay.
are you
Let me see. You don't try it again. I just text him.
okay? So in the meantime, we'll just wait to see if he's able to
To reconnect.
rejoin us.
There we go.
No, it's not working.
No. Okay. Well, while we're waiting on him to come back with us, we are just so grateful for you spending time with us on today. And we hope that something was said that can give you just inspiration. There he is. He's back.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. All right. Go ahead on, bro.
The floor is yours. We were hoping. We was like, okay, can he come back? Can he come? Okay, great. Can you start over, like with
I'm
encouraging
sorry.
that?
Yes.
No, that you go ahead. I'll let you.
Absolutely. I think in the profession of optometry, it's about taking the time to sacrifice and surrounding oneself with those who get those sacrifices. It is a lot of work, but anyone can do it, and I truly believe that anyone can do it. It's just prioritizing life at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when everyone else is hanging out or doing whatever they want to do. The book's got to be open. It just really has to happen, and it's in the grand scheme of things in life, it is a short period of time, but the reward that comes from it and the folks that we meet along the way, I mean, it's a great blessing. So we need more optometrists because we are getting more eyes. So we need more people to take care of those eyes. But I want to thank you both for what you do, because you all are reaching out and helping so many people and educating so many people. And that's important. I mean, everyone needs to hear these things. And some of these conversations are tough conversations, but they need to be had. So thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Webb. We appreciate you. And we hope to, see you again on the platform as we continue to grow our platform. So we want to thank you again. And we want to thank our audience for taking the time out to listen to Dr. Webb and his story regarding the different things that we have spoke about on today. As you know, we are here every first and third Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, overcoming dyslexia and other stigmas. I am one of your hosts, Keita A. Pratt. I am here to motivate, encourage you, and inspire you to get to your greater good. I am here to help you get from good to great, to unlocking your greatness. I thank you again as I pass it to my co-host as we close out for the evening.
What an amazing time we had on today, Dr. Webb. I am always so grateful for everything that you've done, especially ordering those bifocal contacts for the Oh my God. That has been the best thing since sliced bread. I just want to let you know. But thank you again for taking the time and agreeing to be on our platform. And it's always a pleasure hosting with you. We are planning on bigger and better things as we learn what our purpose is in order to continue to educate the community, and not only educate the community, but educate ourselves in order to be productive citizens. I am Dr. Ray. I am here to help you maneuver, navigate, and become the best version of who you want to be. That's what's important. And until next time, be blessed and a blessing. My name is Dr. Ray, and I'm here to tell you about our podcast, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas. We are here to have the tough and difficult conversation about being labeled special ed or have some form of a disability. My name again is Dr. Raylyn White.
And I am Keita A. Pratt. Be sure to tune in to us every first and third Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
We can be found on Clubhouse as of now, but please stay tuned to our social media pages, Overcoming Dyslexia and Other Stigmas.